Hello everyone, and welcome to this talk about the erotic. So I have chosen to talk about how erotic energy is more than just sex. It fuels our confidence, our creativity, and our joy. I don't know who's currently listening. I'm trying to check on my phone if I can see myself live, but not so sure that I'm actually syncing the two. But if you are listening, then welcome. It's a pleasure, and I hope you've had a wonderful day. I am speaking to you from Hemsedal, Norway, and it's been a beautiful day. There's snow, people go skiing, so quite far from the South Africa and the summer warmth that I'm sure you guys have, and anybody else, you might be in a totally different part of the world. Hello Annie, lovely to connect here. So that means you can hear me, which is always positive. So my choice to speak to you today is something that I'm incredibly passionate about, because I feel that sex and sexuality and sensuality is something women actually own. Even though we are brought up to almost believe that sex is somehow owned by men, I think women own it. And a lot of women actually don't even know that this is the case. But if we look at how society presents the sexual, the erotic, it all seems to be around what men need, what men desire, and yet women desire just as much as men do. And I know from my own experience that it's so easy to start to lose touch with your own eroticism and the energy that comes from it. I was in a relationship for a very long time, 23 years. It was on the surface a beautiful relationship. We were partners in adventure. We had a great friendship, and from the outside, I'd say many people thought we were the perfect couple, and yet it was something was missing. And over time, I realized that I had unmet needs, and that slowly my sensuality and my desire and this energy that literally flows through me was starting to be diminished, at the point where I felt like it was being suffocated, because I was being rejected on a regular basis. And I'd say that this rejection over time contributed to what eventually turned into be the ending of the relationship. And so I want to talk to you about how erotic energy is like a life force energy, because I genuinely feel as if this is something that we forget. And I want you to think about the spark in a woman's eye. You know, midlife women can quite often lose touch with this sensual, erotic energy, because we are being told to, you know, keep it down, that with age you sort of less erotic. It's almost like it's a suppression in a way, and we have become sort of conditioned to believe that it fades away. And of course there are women who genuinely don't have as big a sex drive, just like there are men who don't have as big a sex drive. But the erotic energy is something that is sort of separate from the sexual. And I think it comes when we truly are in touch with our bodies, and when we give ourselves permission to desire and to want. Hopefully you are still with me. So I would love to invite you to think about any role model women that you might have, that you think about, and think about what makes them special. Because I believe that actually most of the women that we look up to are women, it's not something specific, it is literally the spark that they have. They have somehow managed to retain that energy that I'm trying to describe for you. And so I feel that women who know how to enjoy life tap into this energy really well. And when we shut down our erotic energy, we don't just lose touch with our own sensuality, we lose touch with ourselves. It's like we shrink down and we play small, and we doubt our worth, and we doubt whether we have the right to have pleasure, to demand pleasure almost. And I experienced this to the point where I'd be lying awake next to my partner and feel alone, and I would wonder what was wrong with me. And actually, eventually over time, I came to realize there's nothing wrong with me. He just simply, as it turned out later, didn't have a lot of testosterone, so he didn't have a desire. His libido was very low. And that sense of not feeling desired made me lose a bit of my self-confidence. I genuinely started to doubt myself, and feeling rejected repeatedly, despite bringing it up and explaining that I needed more intimacy, I needed to have that connection. All it did was end in tears, and it sort of was my problem. It wasn't our problem, because he didn't perceive it as a problem. There was no problem in his eyes. So when I realized how much I was missing in terms of this erotic, sensual element in my life, I actually decided that I didn't want to live without it. And I made the decision to leave my partner, which was very challenging as a decision, because there were so many things that were great, but I realized that actually my love language was touch and intimacy and being loved in a very physical way, and his love language was something else. It was experiences, and we did all that, but we filled his cup, and we kind of continuously didn't fill mine in the same way. So I would love for you to think about what lights you up, and really consider whether you are allowing this energy in your life, whether you are lucky enough to have it, and whether you are using it to your benefit and to its full potential. Because I also believe that the erotic energy helps us being creative. It helps us to dream and to dare to follow those dreams. It gives us power. So it's more than just the erotic and the sensual. It's also part of the drive behind our desires and pursuing those desires. So it's a vital force. If you're an entrepreneur, if you are in charge of something, then this is actually a vital part of your ability to accomplish things. So I'd say it is absolutely essential to reconnect with your sensuality and harness the power of erotic energy. So I'd like you to think tonight about when was the last time you did something for your own pleasure. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be fully alive? And what would it look like if you gave yourself permission to reclaim all of who you are? Do you feel in touch with your body and your senses? Do you give yourself permission to enjoy and to receive pleasure? Because I think as women, we are quite often very keen to give pleasure. We are so preoccupied with performing for somebody else's benefit that we forget our own right to being pleasured. And when I realized that I have just as much right to be happy and to have my needs met as my partner, whose needs I was meeting, but mine weren't being met, I stopped feeling like there was something wrong with me. And I realized that actually I have something incredibly precious to be careful not to lose it. And actually, on the contrary, I needed to nurture that energy. And when I left my partner, I went and traveled. I actually went to South Africa, and I did some things that I had wanted and had been longing to do, and I did them just for me. And I also moved to Norway to be with a man that has the same love language, that is nurturing this side of me and enables me to tap into that energy, and I can then harness it and use it for the drive that I need to run my own coaching business, to give to my clients, because it's like the energy I generate within myself, I can then share it. So I find it incredibly important. And I believe that all women have the right to feel this energy and believe that we deserve to have lots of abundance of pleasure and truly feel this force within us. Excuse me, I've been a little bit snuffly lately. I was on a trip, and as you know, when you sit next to lots of people in an airplane, there's a lot of coughing going on, and I think I picked up a couple of bugs and brought them home. But so I do apologize if I'm a little bit nasal. So erotic energy is a life force. It is the creative pulse of the universe, the thing that makes us feel connected, vibrant and magnetic. It's the reason you feel a surge of excitement when you're dancing freely. I don't know if you love to dance, but I do. And I guess it is because it connects me to my body, and moving my body, it stimulates that energy. It's the electricity in the air when you're deeply engaged in something that you're passionate about. It's that feeling of standing on the edge of an adventure, and your heart is pounding, and you're ready to leap, and there's like butterflies in your stomach, and most of us have been taught to suppress it. I grew up in Sweden, and my Czech heritage from my mother's side, I guess I had this a little bit more passionate than the average Swede, and I grew up being told that I should calm down. It was like I was too much. So I think many women as girls are taught that they are too loud. You know, I was laughing too loudly, or I was being too much, I was taking up too much space. So I think as women we are taught to be good, to be nice, to be appropriate. We are taught to be caring and nurturing. And I think we also taught that desire fades with age, that the sensuality is something for the young. And so I think that sets this, it sets us up for almost losing touch with our sensuality. But I would argue that actually most women, when we reach midlife, shall we say, around 40s, there's this surge of hormones naturally, and for many women it makes us even more sexually and sensually aware, and we desire even more than we did. So for someone who's always been very sensual, it's like being supercharged, and it can be then very tricky if you're with a man who might have lost his libido, so you are sexually frustrated. And I believe that the world is full of sexually frustrated people, which actually contributes to a lot of negativity, a lot of conflict even, I dare say. Because I think if the world was a place where everyone was sexually satisfied, there would be a lot less frustration, a lot less attention. People would be happier in general. I do believe that sexual health is just as much a cornerstone of our general health as physical health and mental health. I think literally sexual health is the third pillar that we require for overall great well-being. And so I would like to invite all women to really give themselves permission to have all these needs and desires, to know that it's okay not to feel shame around naughty fantasies or desire to experience more pleasure. I also believe that many women actually don't know how much pleasure they are capable of. I definitely didn't know a lot about various orgasms. You know, like I think I discovered different types of orgasms in my 40s, you know. And so I would say that as women we have so much to give to the world, but so much to give to ourselves. And so starting off with getting really familiar with your own body and what you desire, and allowing yourself to enjoy things is really important, because I think that stimulates something inside of us that we can then use for something else. So it's like a energy source. Imagine like our own it doesn't sound very sexy, but like our own nuclear power plant, but it is actually erotic energy, and it's like an endless supply of energy that we can tap into if we know how. So I think it's actually a vital part of us continuing to contribute to our own success, but also to the wider community. It gives us the energy that we need to fulfill our potential. I know so many women who are in positions where they feel they are not being satisfied, and the question is, why are we putting up with it? You know, and why isn't there a more open conversation around this area? Clearly people have affairs to satisfy their needs, but it's all very hush and like a, you know, dirty thing, instead of opening up the conversation around needs and sexual needs and pleasure, and being honest that perhaps the person who you're with is a great partner, but you might need something more from a sexual perspective. And it's natural. So I know there'll be different opinions on this, and some people will feel strongly that what I'm saying is not the right thing to do. But when I look around and I see how many people are having affairs and are unhappy when it comes to this in their relationship, I wonder whether pretending that things are okay and lying about, you know, that you might be fulfilling your needs elsewhere, I mean, I don't see that as a good option. So I think if we all collectively were a bit more tolerant and open around the subject of sexual satisfaction and pleasure, and accepted that sometimes people's needs are not evenly matched, that perhaps there is an opportunity to fulfill those needs through somebody else without having to leave. You know, you could still have a thriving relationship as long as it's done with respect and not deceit. And I will be the first one to acknowledge that I ended up being with somebody else, and it was never my intention to hurt my long-term partner, but that's after so many years of being rejected. I ended up in a position where I didn't quite know what to do, and I met somebody when I was living in a different country. We kind of decided to be living in 2 different countries, and I met a man who showed me what I was missing, truly, and that made me realize that I do not want to spend the rest of my life without this pleasure and this energy. That it was like he reignited the fire, and you know, there was suddenly all this energy that I could tap into, and it made me feel alive. So I'm not advocating infidelity, I'm advocating being open and having the conversation. Yeah, I think that would be much more healthy for everybody. So I also believe that reconnecting with your erotic energy doesn't have to be about sex, actually. It's about awakening your senses. So it's about feeling alive in your body and loving your body, truly loving your body and what it's capable of. So it's reclaiming the right to pleasure, to confidence and creativity. And I would say that the first step is to give yourself permission to want again. Wanting is very powerful. Desire is very powerful. And yet so many of us feel guilty for wanting more. I did. I felt like there was something wrong with me and I should be happy with what I have. And yet I wasn't. So we want more pleasure, more adventure, more excitement, more of ourselves, whatever it is. But desire is not selfish. It is the pulse of life. So I invite you to give yourself permission to want more. And again, think about that woman that you might have as a role model, or somebody that you've come across that really has a glow. And it's not a glow of perfection or age, it's not external beauty, it's that they have allowed themselves to want and to desire, and they are fully inhabiting their bodies. And I think that is what gives them that special glow. So to awaken your senses, I'd ask you, when was the last time that you felt truly your body? And I'm not talking about seeing your body in the mirror, but feeling your body. So when did you last time move? Not for fitness, but for pleasure. Dancing, stretching, rolling around in the sheets, indulging your sensuality, putting on some nice clothes, the fabric, feeling it against your skin. Eat food that makes you moan a little bit, something indulgent, something a little bit naughty perhaps. or take slow, deep breaths and really feel the air fill your belly. And remind yourself that you're alive. Awakening your senses is not about impressing anyone. It's about you remembering how much pleasure your own existence can bring. And I'd also like to say that erotic energy is playful, it's curious, it is part of a sense of adventure. So when did you last time do something just for the thrill of it? When was the last time you said yes to something, even if it was a bit scary? Playfulness, adventure, and stepping into the unknown is important to rekindle your spark. And that's why travel, dancing, go out and stand and dance in the street, do something that might be considered a bit weird. Risk-taking, I'm not talking about dangerous, stupid things, but do something that is a bit outside of your comfort zone, but that excites you. There is a risk because you don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm not saying that you should go and do something that's going to lead down a dangerous path. But just consider saying yes to opportunities that presents themselves. Because I think when we say yes, we open up the world and we embrace the opportunities that lie in front of us. And this in itself wakes us up. So my invitation is, allow yourself to want again, reconnect with your body, with your senses, and say yes to adventure. Because this feeling of being alive, being awake, being vibrant, that is your birthright. And that energy is right there inside you. And you can just continue to renew it and nurture it and draw upon it and use it to create the best life for you. Thank you so much for listening. And don't know if there's anyone has any questions, but I'm happy to answer. I will now have a look, see if I can see the conversation on the side. I can see Candice. Thank you so much. Very happy to have you. And thank you so much, Annie. It's wonderful, the encouragement. And anybody else who might be watching this after the recording is posted, then obviously if you have any questions, please do contact me. You can reach me through my Facebook profile, Kamilla Norrman, and I believe there might be some links posted somewhere, but it's been a pleasure. I hope it's given you something and it's inspired you to perhaps dare tap into that erotic part of yourself in case you have locked it away recently. So be amazing. You women, we women, we truly have the power to change the world. So thank you.